I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This time I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda pending any changes.
No changes at this time.
No changes at this time.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Mark, second by Brent. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Good news recognitions and announcements.
Nominee for Outstanding Supporting Actress by the St. Louis High School Musical Theater Awards. I played Grace Farrell in the Festus High School production of Annie. I'm the only nominee in my category from a public school production. Winners will be announced on Sunday at the fabulous Hvac Theater. Now here's a look at the rest of this month's good news, recognitions, and announcements. The Festus girls varsity track team won the district championship last weekend. The girls had 3 district champions: Ella Shy in the pole vault, Alexis Beeley in the 100-meter dash, and Kayla Roberts Day in the shot put. 13 qualified for the sectional meet to be held at Tiger Stadium this weekend. The boys finished 3rd in the district meet. District champions were Jacob Myers in the 800, 1600, and 3200-meter runs, Reese Johnson in the 100-meter dash, Kyan Roberts Day in the shot put, and a 4x100-meter relay team of Reese Johnson, Hunter Bates, Landon Yates, and Armand Branch. The team qualified in 11 of 19 events for the sectional meet at Tiger Stadium on Saturday. That's the first time that has been done since going to the home-and-home format a few years ago. The Tiger tennis team won the conference tournament and finished 2nd in the team district tournament.
Hi, my name is Courtney Fadler, and I'm the Festus High School May Student of the Month. My parents are Rich and Sherry Fadler. I think it's a very awesome achievement. It's something that I've wanted for a really long time. I think my favorite class would be AP Calculus with Ms. Harms. I'm involved in student council, cross country, track and field, National Honor Society, and Fellowship of Christian Athletes. I plan to go to the University of Missouri on a national NROTC scholarship to study biochemistry while becoming an officer in the United States Navy.
Intermediate school students who scored proficient or advanced on last year's MAP test received their MAP medals last month. Those who scored advanced received gold medals, proficient scorers received silver medals. The students received the medals from the teachers they had last year. Middle school choir students participated in the Six Flags Music Festival last week. The 7th grade mixed choir, 8th grade treble choir, and the 8th grade concert choir all performed before enjoying the day at the park. 216 Festus High School seniors publicly declared their post-high school plans on Decision Day last month. Whether attending a university, college, trade school, or entering the military or workforce, students were recognized for their decision. Festus Middle School students Alex Kester, Peyton Nosh, Josie Hensley, Elsa Muellersman, Kaden Moreland, and Kylie Grip made a presentation before the Festus City Council on May 10th. They updated council members on the Mount Zion Cemetery project, the all-black cemetery on Highway CC in Festus. Students did research on those who are buried there. They are mapping the cemetery and looking for unmarked graves. They are also cleaning headstones and plan to place markers on the unmarked graves in the cemetery. About 150 incoming kindergarten students attended kindergarten kickoff earlier this month. They had the opportunity to meet the teachers, play on the playground, and have some fun. Art projects from students in grades kindergarten through 12th grade were featured on Festus Main Street during the first week of May. It was the annual Festus Art Walk. Art projects were displayed in store windows for patrons to see as they walk through the downtown area. End of the school year activities are beginning. Tomorrow night, Friday, May 20th, is the Senior Awards Night. Scholarships in the Mr. and Miss FHS will be awarded beginning at 7 p.m. in the Performing Arts Center. Tuesday, May 24th is graduation day. The high school graduation will begin at 7 p.m. at Tiger Stadium. If it rains, the ceremony will be moved to Wednesday, May 25th. And Tuesday, May 24th is also kindergarten promotion. Ceremonies will be at 9:15, 10:15, and 11:15 in the Performing Arts Center. And that's a look at this month's good news, recognitions, and announcements.
Once again, lots of good things going on in the district. Exciting times. Well, moving on, entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Doreen, have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Martin. Dr. Luttrell. Anything to,
Yes, I see a lot of handbooks on there. This is a month we always approve our handbooks for not only for each student attendance center, but also for staff handbooks, activity handbooks, transportation, maintenance, food service, substitute. We have a handbook that outlines our procedures and protocols for just about any aspect of the district you want to know, whether it's, how we do with our one-to-one Chromebooks, facility usage, which has been updated. We had the one draft last month. It still is a work in progress. And we thank, like I said, on the facility usage, bring it on the ball field, bring it on Performing Arts Center. We do want to thank Mrs. Donaldson, who has put a lot of labor and work into that over the past, couple months to get that ready to roll out. And then I also wanted to point out there that we have our dairy and bread bids for next year, which, we do those every year, but it's something I want to point out to you, because, another item on the consent agenda is where we are recommending a small increase in our breakfast and lunch prices for next year. You never want to make money in food service, and you don't want to just bleed red either. And we have typically never made money through the last couple of years since the pandemic. You get reimbursement from the government on every meal you serve. So our participation rate, as expected, is about 2,000 meals and lunch. Normally, it's only about 1,000, 1,100. Okay, the government has already said that free meals to all go away. And so next school year, everyone has to return to paying, or they have to meet the free reduced lunch criteria. So while we have gotten a lot of money in reimbursements, that's going to go away. Okay. Couple that though with the fact that our food costs have risen drastically. Okay. And to give you an example, what I put on there is that back in August, from our food service provider, one frozen chicken patty, not the bun, just the patty, cost the district, now they part of a box, but even when you buy them, you get in the box, was 71 cents. Since August, we now are paying from our provider, and it's just everywhere, almost like $1.17. That is almost a 64% increase in cost. Okay, so now the other thing I want to say is that even this year, with all of the reimbursements that we are going to be taking, that we have taken in, okay, we're still going to be in the red. Okay, it's just not going to be in the red as much as we normally are. The other thing on top of that we need to be cognizant of is that even to qualify for the reimbursement for the free reduced lunch students, you have to keep your lunch pricing within a certain threshold percentage of what the free and reduced, of what the rate is that the government is reimbursing the meal on. Say if they're reimbursing you $3 for a meal, you have to have at least been charging a certain amount. And so they give you this calculator every year to kind of figure where you're at. Then when you're audited, and next year we're due for an audit, for a food service audit, the state will come in, and if you're not within that ratio, they could give you a warning, they need to raise prices or whatever. So we've tried to raise prices. If you recall, back starting at about when that calculator came out when Mrs. Carl was still here, we every year pretty steadily raised our prices about a nickel, trying to get in compliance. But the pandemic hit in 2020, well, the 19-20 school year, that which had been this time in 19, was the last time we actually raised prices, because everyone's been eating free. And so some schools kept raising them, even though nobody didn't need to, but because the last thing we want to get into, if we take little small increments, is that we don't want to get into the fact where, let's say, we don't do anything, well, let's just, eat it right now, and we get into, down the road, 2 years, we go through an audit, the state comes in and says, you all should be at this. We would really be something if we suddenly had to increase our prices 25 cents or 30 cents. And so I think, again, just to give it again, it doesn't generate a lot of revenue. We're not getting rich. It's just trying to help us also be good stewards, so that if we're asked, why are you, so much of the money, we're trying, we have been increasing prices, but even a nickel, when you figure about 1,200 kids that eat a meal at lunch, you times that, times 170 days, paying a nickel more. A nickel generates, generates somewhere between $8,000 and $10,000 a nickel. I mean, you're not getting rich off of it, but it's still a way to try to say we are continuing to try to make strides so that we don't just bleed predatory, and we can also stay in compliance with it. But I thought it was interesting. Again, I showed you the chicken patty example, but even on our bids next year, first off, the whole grain white bread is going to $3 a loaf from $1.51 is what we've been paying this year. The hamburger buns, a quantity of 8, is going up 14 cents, and the whole grain hot dog buns are going up 12 cents, okay? And we buy a lot of loaves of that, okay? So that's just a sample. And then, so that's, whenever I put on there, I want you to see that for our milk, our bids that we have there for the bids on the milk and dairy, we are recommending, as we said, in fact, on our bread bids, the provider we had this past year, the past couple of years, just start next week, they're pulling out of the St. Louis market. Okay, so we actually had to find, and of course, remember we used to use, Doug, you remember we used to use Bimbo Bakery? Mm-hmm. They're not even taking any new clients. So we did have Jackson come in. They're based out of Bridgeton, and they are going to, like I said, be providing providing us that service this next year. We did check, Dunklin uses them, and we've got good references, on them. So we think, we should not skip a beat with that on our bread. Then on our dairy, the only one that we could get to return a bid was Prairie Farms, which we've used Prairie Farms for years. We have a very good partnership with them. They're always very reliable, give us a good product. But if you looked at those bids, whenever we looked at where, we did have one other vendor that came in on the dairy that was, let me look at that was on the dairy that came in, and it was, if you notice those prices, they were pretty close, but even whenever you look at the Prairie Farms, I put on there just so you could kind of see. I put on there when you open up that file that even though milk, the 1%, which again we can't even sell 2%. We can't sell them. We get now it's down to 1% or skim milk. So anyway, it's 32 cents. For the little carton of milk is what we're going to pay. But that even itself is a 3-cent increase from this year. Okay, think about how many milks we go through between breakfast and lunch. Okay, and then you've got down there, that the 1% chocolate milk, which we don't know if a lot of kids like chocolate. That's a 4-cent increase. Okay, even though again it was. As we said, there was only that we had another one that came out and bid the Vaccaro produce, which is kind of a new into the market. You You can see though, even when you look at their prices, they were pretty similar even to Prairie Farms. I mean, they're, you know, it's not that Prairie Farms is trying to take advantage, it's just what the market is. And because again, we just chose Prairie Farms because we've been with them for a long time and they've given us no reason to not continue to work with those. So, and then I had, I think, one other thing to mention on, if I can close out of here without losing my,
Chili pepper.
yeah, where is my, okay, I'm good, it came back, okay. Then we've got, like I said, so then you see the meal pricing, so, but then, yeah, then you've got, like I said, we always require that we have a lot of, in time of, someone's gonna go out of state overnight, miss instructional time, we ask that they at least try within that 4 to 6 month time frame to get a request in so the board can approve it. The chili pepper, they've gone to that for years, our cross-country team does, because as you know, it's been so successful, it is hard for them to find week after week some very solid, good competition to really be competitive at. And so they've gone to that because that is one of the best ones in not only the South, but in the whole United States. So our students have gone to that. One thing I did want to throw out, we don't really, it'll come back for an item of discussion later. I've talked to a couple of you about this, that we have been getting more and more requests coming in for out-of-state trips from different activities, different athletic teams, which is fine. The only problem with that is the district just cannot give fund at 100% every single overnight trip. When you start getting into meals and lodging, and you know, there's a big difference between going even to Fayetteville if you want to go to Orlando. And I think that what we're going to try to do sometime in the next several months is try to have Mr. Allen and Dr. Bruce convene a committee of, let the coaches and sponsors kind of choose maybe 5 or 6 of their representatives to come together for a committee. And Dr. Bruce might want to ask maybe a board member to serve on that committee as well. And just kind of brainstorm and strategies. Okay, here's where we're at. Here's why, you know, we've allowed some of these in the past, what we paid, but moving forward, you know, we can't pay for everything, but what would be the best way? What would be some objectives and strategies to try to be fair so that no one, whether it's the club or the district, is put at a disadvantage and acting, you know, to where it's not equitable. But anyway, just throwing that out there. But other than that, that is everything that I have on the consent agenda.
Sounds good. And that also did include the second reading of the board policies. So make sure everybody, if they have any questions, those will be finalized next month. Anybody have any questions about the consent agenda?
I have just 2. What, in the coach's handbook, what is the GPA requirement for if a student has to be taken off of, taken out of a sport? Is it, do they fail? What is it?
It depends on the middle school's different than the high school. The middle school is
Sure.
based on the courses, and there's, you know, a failure in the course.
Okay.
You know, particularly core, all of them count, but, you know, we look at those
Particularly core areas, yeah.
And then at the high school level, credits too, and then the overall GPA.
Okay, and who monitors that?
Dr. Schinniger, and then the counselors.
Okay.
And then they send, actually each of the head coaches too, they have access to their roster of grade reports.
Even the ones who don't work?
Well, they have to go through Ms. Donaldson.
Right,
So
right.
if they're not on staff with us, they still get their roster of grades, but they go through Ms. Donaldson.
I see. I was just curious. And my other question was, you know, the facility use. Who sets those, just curious, who sets those prices? Is that like just the going rate? I know it's a draft.
It was,
God
we have
bless you.
had multiple meetings, Mr. Earnhardt, Ms. Donaldson, actually, there's been a whole group of
Right,
people
right.
involved.
Oh, I'm sure.
And then we did research of all of just surrounding areas, what performing arts, what are they charging,
Right.
depending on size.
I figured that. I was just curious. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there, and those numbers too are, you know, we didn't want to go too low, we didn't want to go too high.
But they seemed
And,
fair to me.
but it is something that, again, after the first year, we can kind of see if we need to tweak them, whether they need to go down or up. It's something that is not set in stone forever. It will be revisited every year.
Thank you.
Anything else, Bill?
No.
Any other questions? If not, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, communications and reports, the superintendent report.
Okay, we have summer school kicking off on June the 1st and going for 20 days to June 28th. Registration is still open. That can be found on the district website. We're still taking enrollment for that. Incoming kindergartners, students that will be grade 12 are eligible to attend that. The Performing Arts Center. Okay, I know I wrote you a note a while back. We're close to wrapping up our payments, closing that out. Director Abrams, the final change order did finally come in, and I was very, I don't like change orders at all, but the last one came in after all the one that's dated back months ago, but they kept saying we got one more to come in. It was quite a bit, but I was able to talk with them and be pretty pointed with them that they didn't want to have to come, and that we were able to narrow that down. And the last change order payment came in. It was right at $3,500, and it was, but anyway, it was warranted. It, but I would want to point out, and again, and I would, even though you'll approve it, you haven't paid it out yet because you will get that one probably be in the bill next month. That we will, you will formally approve that as part of a bill, probably next month or whenever we finally send that through. But I have, the board, so I took that liberty. That I wanted to say that, the original contract sum you see there, which was $12,337,660, the final contractor cost is going to come in at, after all change orders and everything, is going to come in at, that is incorrect. It should be, no, it should be 12 million, that should be 12,630,000.
That's way over budget. Something's wrong.
That was, the change orders, like I said, now, again, Director Abrams, I know you may disagree, I'm being sarcastic here, but the total change, well, we would like it to be zero. When you figure that big of a project, the change orders percentage came in right at 2.4%. But so, like I said, we will not. We're not going. We have one last payment to make still, which is about $215,000, which will close out the project, which includes that last change order. Even though we may run it through, but we will not. I will not. We're not going to release that payment for a while because there's still some small things that still have to be tied up by the. On the punch list, and also because of, again, we've had a very, 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 very wet spring, and we also, we want to make sure that all of our units that sit on the top of that with rooftop units, roofs in general, are all solid and not going to be leaking or anything.
So they gave us a bill one time for over 40,000, and they whittled it down to 3,500.
I don't know if it was quite 40. It was going to be around between 25 and 35.
I remember 40.
But
We could have tried a little bit harder and got all the way down to zero. Just having said, told us there were going to be no more change orders.
I know. But again, it's like I said, it turned out, like I said, it's a great facility, and
Oh, gosh.
For nothing but
yes.
compliments on it.
so.
It's beautiful.
As we said, which is the good news, our graduation is coming up, next Tuesday. Hopefully, like I said, it does look like we need people to keep their fingers crossed and do their sunshine dance, because the weather forecast looks kind of iffy both days. But I talked to Dr. Schiniger earlier today, and he's very, very much feels positive we'll be able to get it in outside one of those evenings. If we can't, like I said, on Wednesday night, we will go to Jefferson College for that.
How many people does the college hold?
Right around 2,500, the students this year, if we have to go to Jefferson College, I believe the number of tickets are, instead of getting, I think right now they're getting 10, and then I think next, if they got to, I think that gets reduced to about 6. So and we had a little over 200.
And what will our new gym hold?
We're gonna have, we're, right now in design phase, it'll be slightly above 2,000, like 2,040, 2,060. It'll be sufficient.
Will we be able to hold it there instead of the college?
Yes, because that's one reason we wanted the 2,000 seats, because that seats, you could also then, you could probably put the graduates on the floor, you know, and you could put some people chairs behind them, so you could, you know, plus.
So we still write the college a check whether we use it or not, correct?
Unfortunately, right now, yes, that's what we have to get that project up and running. So, yes. The vehicles and fleet, I just want to mention there, we have continued to decide to go back and forth, determine whether in replacing our vehicle, some of our fleet, whether transportation truck that the director drives, a maintenance truck, some of our fleet, our vans, rather than just purchase first. I'm trying to toy with the idea of trying to get, there are, like Enterprise does, a program where they will provide fleet of vehicles like vans, SUVs, work trucks. You get like 6 or 7 of them, but then you basically lease them, and then basically every 2 years, every 3 years, you rotate out, you know, with new ones. Okay, so but like everything right now, I mean, got a hold of Enterprise. They called me back, and the person that called me back said they, you know, that somebody else our account person would call me within 24 hours and get with me, but then that was Monday and I have yet to hear. So I called back this afternoon, and we'll wait to see if anyone calls me. If I don't hear something, we'll probably move on then just by we're probably going to, either way, we're probably going to go that direction, or we'll be probably coming back in June and asking for approval of, we know we're going to probably need at least a transportation truck, a maintenance vehicle, and then we're probably going to upgrade at least 2 or 3 of our van fleet out front. And I wouldn't be surprised, I know Dr. Roos, I talked to her, that we might look at, depending on pricing, kind of try to move away from the vans and go to maybe more of a SUV type expedition, you know, something of that nature. But that's still a lot to be decided on that. And then as on the finance, you can look through your financials like you did earlier. I just wanted to clarify a couple things in an email I wrote earlier. It looks like, if you remember over the years, we always have strived to keep our capital projects fund around that $3 million mark. We've intentionally spent it down the last 3 or 4 years as we've done a lot of our projects to help fund some of those, in addition to the lease purchase funds. And doing that, you know, you saw that capital projects fund a couple of years drop down, you know, a little bit above $1 million, and we transferred, we get it back to like 1.62. But we kept saying all along, eventually we're going to get that back to $3 million. And it looks like this year, again, of course, we have had a good year because of we've had, you know, quite a bit of good ADA with our increased enrollment. We're going to be able to, looks like we're going to be able to do the maximum transfer. We were also able to go back, and the last 5 years, and any year we did not take the maximum transfer, you know, take it. And that amounted, you know, to quite a bit of money as well. So right now it's projected. We hope that we can have that capital projects fund, when you get your end of the year report, should have our capital projects fund back above $3 million. And now, if you remember the email, I had said that there's a possibility it could even be close to $4 million. And it would be close to $4 million, but we've decided to be proactive, and we're going to go ahead and pay out some of our projects that we've got planned for July that we're going to be done this summer. We're going to go and pay that out our current fiscal year, and that's going to wind up being about 600, 700 grand. And so if we weren't doing that, that would be right at Gourmet. Okay, but it's 6 one way, half a dozen the other, because you're gonna pay it out either way. But, so what do you mean? I just think from a financial standpoint, again, the district is gonna come out very well, and we fully expect our unrestricted ending balances, you know, we like to be around that, near as close to that 30% mark that as we can. We're gonna probably wind up somewhere around that 27, 28% mark. So again, very solid financial shape as we wrap up the year. And then, as we talked about the Wellness Center, I mentioned to you also some correspondence. We're, even though we're still a couple years away from having the Wellness Center actually up and operational, I've already been working on trying, you know, in that facility, it's going to be a premier facility. It's going to have a lot of, it's going to be one of the best in the region. It's going to have the comprehensive health-based services in it as well. And so I imagine, I mean, I know there's going to be a lot of opportunities there, especially when we're looking at the digital signages and that's possible these days with the video boards, scoreboards, you've seen them. And while they are not cheap, you can usually, if you can find a couple premier vendors that would agree to sponsor and be a partner with you and agree to donate so much a year for say 5 years, 7 years. And I've been talking with a couple, at least one for sure, has already reached back out and said, hey, we're very interested, and they want some more details on it. So I'm thinking that, you know, just like we've got ad panels, you know, at the ball field, at the stadium, at the gyms, I think this is going to be another great opportunity at even a higher level to generate some revenue to help with some of the furnishings that we're going to need in that facility. And I'll keep you updated, you know, that as we move forward with that. And then you saw the kindergarten graduation coming up next Tuesday morning. And then the last student attendance day is set for next Thursday, 1 week from today. It is an early release day. So that's my superintendent's report.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Move on to prior new business, approving a bid for asphalt work on the parking lots.
Okay. We do try to do asphalt work every summer. We've got a lot of parking lots, a lot of areas, and so we've got identified 2 key areas this summer that need to be done. One is the upper parking lot at Festus Elementary School right there at Sunshine in Mid-Meadow. That lot has not been done for a long time. It's cracked. It really needs it bad. And then if you go behind there, then the area that's south between the rear of the elementary school, between the elementary and the Tiger Stadium, that area, we're looking at doing that, and that needs to be, the whole area needs to be totally, it's just not overlaid, it needs to be totally milled down and then brought back up, you know, with about 3 inches of asphalt. That cost, so that's a big area, that cost, and again, I got to put another digit in there that's wrong. That should be 179,633. No, yeah, 179,633. And then the area 2 is the maintenance building. A lot of people that where our building is at 600 Sunshine, when we get all our deliveries in and everything, that's a big lot there. A lot of people think that part of that is a city lot, but it's not, it's ours, even though a lot of this, we allow a lot of people to park there because they park there and they walk down and exercise, you know, in West City. It's been over a decade, I think going on 12 years since we last did any work there. And again, we get a lot of heavy trucks in there for deliveries, trash trucks. So we're looking at, that needs to be also completely taken down, milled, and built back up. That cost there is 5724875, and Joker's Paving was the sole vendor that bid both those projects. And I would recommend that Joker's Paving be approved to complete the asphalt projects per bid specifications at the elementary school and the R6 maintenance building in the amount of $236,882. And that work would be performed this summer, probably after summer school.
So only part of that lot
they did right around the stadium when we redid the stadium, wasn't it? Because I know they did a little bit of
Yeah,
asphalt work
correct,
there.
and
but-
this will, and then that's a great point, I'm glad you, that rear area between the elementary and the stadium will go all the way around, and then right where the old concession stand area was, it will end right about there, because going on up, they did when they expanded that parking lot. The newest area of the parking lot will not be redone, that's a great point.
How come they don't want to bid? We have meetings and
Oh, it
nobody
was in
shows
the,
up?
it was in the paper, we contacted, there's not, but I'll also say that, Joker's just, a lot of people, they're good.
Yeah, they did a lot of work for us, but I usually had 5 or 6 bidders.
We used to have, what was it, there was a, what's that?
There was Duracell.
Duracell, no, yeah, they usually come, but they were, and we used Duracell last fall on a asphalt project, and they did good work too, and I see that guy all the time, and I think that everybody just got work.
Who writes up these specs?
Depends on the project, like the asphalt specs here, typically, I do it, but usually I'll have an asphalt vendor come out and kind of look it over, and say, so how much they'll kind of give us an idea, but then everybody's bidding, whoever comes will bid the same.
Yeah, they bid the same, I was wondering.
That, to me, that's better than, if we could get an architect or an engineer in, but that's gonna,
Yeah, that's not necessary.
Add more money to it. Anybody else have any questions? Anybody like to make a motion to approve the asphalt bidding?
I'll make a motion to approve, to recommend Joker's paving to complete.
Mr. Wall,
I'll second.
second by Ms. Beresowski. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, the approved bid for the HVAC work at the Festus Elementary and High School.
yeah, earlier this winter, earlier back in the winter, we approved a bid to renovate the counselor suite, Festus Elementary School, into several different offices, as well as the IT area downstairs at the elementary where the old concession stand area, the old district office used to be, to give some other people that are in the buildings now where we need that space for classrooms to be relocated down to that area. And so we approved all that bid, a couple months ago. And so now, since that time, which we knew at the time, that there's to our existing HVAC to make sure that proper ventilation is given to each individual office and controls, and that they kind of got to go in and do some duct work, expand some units, and SMCI, which has always performed our work, they're the ones that quoted this project because we wanted to make sure, because they're familiar with our system. The IT office area, basically, quote, does include a new 3-ton rooftop unit, which would include all installation and labor. That cost is $21,290. And then there's also a portion that includes down in the IT office a separate area to have the area down there in the server room at the IT office where all of our equipment that keeps our infrastructure for our internet, everything running and running well 24/7. It is very delicate, that you want to keep that at very cool temperatures especially. We have not really had that. So we feel this is our opportune time also to put a unit to adequately cool that area to keep it at the temperature that it needs to be, because that really gets hot and warm. And so they'll be putting in a quote also to put in the 24,000 BTU unit for that that would be from the outside, an outdoor unit that's hung, and then also a 24,000 AT unit wall that is wall hung inside. And that, that project, like I said, and all that, with the IT office, they're, not the IT office, but the counselor suite area, then they're redoing that is $15,499 to make sure that they get proper ventilation in their new offices. So then, but all three separate projects, the cost for the new server, the server HVAC, the rooftop unit that will serve the IT area offices, and then the counselor suite reconfiguring all of that, is a total of $49,450, and it's all part of SMCI would do all that work. And so I recommend approval of the bid from SMCI to do those three projects in the amount of $49,450 per bid specifications.
Anybody have any questions?
Yes. Couple of questions. So with the counselor suite that was designed, that this is now feeding, was it our architects that designed that construction project? We did it in-house, the design to it?
On what, I'm sorry?
For the counselors that we're now adding this unit for, did our architects design that?
I don't know, I don't think they did. I wasn't a part of that, I don't know.
No,
Okay, so
I
we
don't
did,
think
we
so.
did it
they
No.
did
in-house?
not.
Okay.
They did not, that's okay.
All right.
So this is the counselor suite at the high school or the elementary, or which counselor?
Elementary.
Okay.
Elementary. Yeah, we're just.
We just kind of updated that on our own
And so that's why, so my second question that I noticed in each one of these quotes, they talk about the replacement of the units, but then they put items that aren't included. They're not including trash removal, they're not putting electrical hookups, they're not including any of the sheeting or any roofing that's associated with that also. So is that additional cost that we then got to hire contractors to do that work?
I don't think so. No, I mean, I think that, I mean, they're gonna, I mean, I think it's just something they put standard in there in all their projects.
Yeah.
We've never had a problem with, I mean, in fact, we had the pre-construction meeting last week, and we talked about, you know, their staging area and where they were gonna be. And, you know, I don't think that's a problem.
As being that they're putting it in their that's why I'm bringing it up, is
Yeah.
they're specifically saying, hey, we're not including pricing for any of this. So
I can
wanted
check.
to come
I
back
can-
later.
Happy to check with them.
Okay,
See.
that's all my questions.
Those were easy.
Okay, anybody like to make a motion to approve the HVAC bids?
I'll make a motion to approve the bid from SMCI in the amount of $49,450 to perform the HVAC work per bid specification.
Motion by Mr. Wilk, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Martin. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next up, approving the bids for digital signs at the Bestest Middle School and Elementary Childhood Center. Early Childhood Center. I'll get it right one of these days.
You know, last summer, we put in the new digital sign at the corner of Mid-Meadow and Sunshine. And we had, turned out very nice. And we had said at the time that, you know, if that turned out well, we might look at placing similar signs in other locations. One key location that is definitely needed is some type of signage over at the middle school that is at the entrance off of West Main. There's really nothing there but an old concrete block that's painted. Marcus, you might have painted that when you were in high school. And
I can't tell you when I worked how many times people would go, where's your middle school? I'm looking for Festus Middle School, and there was never a
so I
sign.
think it would be a great location, and so what we did was we priced out a digital sign that is identical in terms of a platform, that looks just like the one at Mid-Meadow and Sunshine for the middle school, as well as, you know, we purchased the We Care building last December, and they're gonna need a presence, and so we priced a second board out for that site. And we had 3 vendors that submitted a bid. You can see there was 2 of the vendors were somewhat close. The third vendor was quite a bit lower, and they were bidding the same brand, the same. I mean, it was, you know. So and the low vendor there, they have done quite a few signs in and around the Festus area. I contacted several businesses in town, churches that have used this vendor, and they had very good things to say. I contacted one other school district within the area that also used this vendor, and first thing the superintendent said, were they quite a bit lower than the others? And I said, yes. They said it was the same thing here, and they've had nothing. They had nothing but good things to say. What this will do is, you know, while each individual building will have control of what goes on their sign, Mr. Pope, communications director, can also have ability, since they're all the same platform, Watchfire. He could also at any one time, if he wanted to send information to each sign in a single push, he could do that without having to go to each one individually. Okay. So we think sticking with that, you know, format is popular. So the total cost for both digital signs, running the electrical for the two digital signs, which is 8 millimeters, which is the same pixel quality as we have at the corner of Mid-Meadow and Sunshine. The 2 signs total cost of $112,107. And for comparison purposes, if you recall, this vendor that's the low bid did not bid the project last summer, and but one of the other 2 vendors did, and we got a great product. But again, it was, if you remember that sign, I think it was right at around 65 or 70. So I mean, it's still a very good price for 2 signs. And again, now I will say the one at the middle school is single-sided. It's only going to come from one side, whereas the one at the Early Childhood Center would be a 2-sided sign.
They do the brickwork and all that, just like the other one?
Yeah, it's going to all match.
And then what about the Early Childhood Center? Is there going to need other kind of signage on the front of that building at some point, or is this going to be all we have to do?
I think probably that hasn't been decided yet. I think the committee will be, I'm sure there will be, you know, something probably at some point. I just don't think it's been decided. Fortunately, we've still got about a little bit of time to decide that and do that, and see what's going to be best. I'm sure the director Mauser, Dr. Mauser out there will have some input on that in the months ahead.
So I guess you check with the city on these signs every time?
No, that's going to be, the vendor's going to have to secure all the permits, because we will have, I know for sure, I don't think there'll be a problem too much in the Early Childhood Center, because there's just no room. I mean, you'll still admit, the middle school, I do know if the ordinance is still in, usually they have to send, you know, that notice out to so many people. But I'm thinking that hopefully for both these signs, there shouldn't be that many people that are going to, it's not going to be like, of course, we got grandfathered in up here at Mid-Meadow because we already had a sign there, so they didn't make us do that. But I know when we put the new signage in at the stadium back in 2010, we had to go to planning. But no, the vendor knows they're responsible for going to the city, pulling the permit, doing whatever. So, you know, that could take a little time, depending on, but I will say the city has really been very good to us, you know, the last few years in terms of working with us and trying to expedite, you know, things through so that we can get them done, and hopefully that will continue. But hopefully these signs will get going and we'll have them installed, you know, hopefully by, I don't know if it'll be by the time school starts, but hopefully by maybe, you know, Labor Day, especially at the middle school, hopefully sooner.
One-sided, why is it only one-sided? Is it gonna face the road?
Because of the way it faces, it's gonna face, it's mainly positioned to face the people that are coming from, that are coming up Collins and then making that left and going down that way. And then the way it's positioned, that hillside's position, it's real, to be able to really see it, you can't really put it out on two-sided. You could, but it really wouldn't, it's not gonna.
Yeah. So there's no chance that the city won't say you
Oh, there's always a chance of those things.
no, this doesn't
But they've been good to
meet
us.
our,
Oh, there's definitely that chance they could. I mean, we know that.
well, believe me, I do too. This company, the Jewel Sign Company, where are they located?
The rep is out of here, the company itself is out of California. The
Okay,
rep
yeah,
here.
because I couldn't find a Missouri license for them.
Yeah.
They don't have a business
I mean,
license.
the rep, I mean, they've done, I mean, I can't answer that. They'll have to have a business license here in the city of
Yeah.
Festus.
He's done several signs in the city, so.
Yeah, because
he's
state of Missouri
licensed.
doesn't have, I mean, I know
I think
all the
they
subcontractors.
subcontract some of their work out.
Yeah, all the subcontractors I recognize, just
Mhm.
their company, we looked it up, they don't exist for the state of Missouri.
Hmm.
Rich will be on. Oh, yeah. And then on the, because they're the only ones that actually specifies the size of the screen. Was there specs that every one of them said, hey, this is the size of our sign, we're all pricing the same thing? Okay.
Yes.
Any other questions?
Are they always bid the exact same equipment or just the same?
Same dimensions as the one at Metal. And that was done intentionally so that we didn't get into somebody saying, well, you did a better sign here than. No.
Any other questions? If not, somebody like to make a motion for approval of the digital signs?
I make a motion that we approve the bid from Jewel Sign in the amount of $112,107 to install per bid specifications and include labor, parts, the equipment,
The rest of
put
it.
my eyeballs on. Electrical, 2 separate digital signs, 8mm at Festus Middle School and the Early Childhood Center.
Motion by Mr. Shepherd, do I have a second?
second it.
Second by Mr. Abrams. All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. And moving on to the next, purchase of furniture.
Since we're doing the renovation at the counselor's suite at the elementary school, we also, they need to reconfigure, because we're gonna do offices, furniture. We have, on the purchasing, cooperative purchasing that we do through Ed Plus, they already bid out many of the products to guarantee get the best price. Most all of our furniture the last 7-8 years has been purchased through CI Select. And so between the counselor's suite area, which is going to be, it's a pretty large area, and then also some furniture for this office, one of the offices in this building, we're asking the approval to go with CI Select per bid specifications to provide specific office furniture, and that amount would be $36,039.74.
Anybody have any questions about that?
Which office here? It's an office in, is it?
That's-
Yeah, it'll be superintendent's office, and
Oh,
then
your office. Yeah, I was just curious. Okay.
with a table in there. The office is big. You've been in there.
Oh,
so
yeah,
it's like someone
yeah.
put like a
Sure.
conference table in there.
Sure. I was just, it's that office.
Somebody like to make a motion to approve the purchase of the furniture?
I'll make a motion to approve CI Select to provide furniture per bid specifications in the amount of $36,039.74.
Have a motion by Ms. Beresowski.
Second.
Second by Mr. Abrams. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
See?
Okay. Next item is approving the June 2022 board meeting date. I know there's some talk about moving it closer to the end of June so we have our final numbers as far as budgeting goes?
Yes, and so normally it's the third Thursday of each month. In June, it's talking about the earliest that it can be. That is even before we get our state payment in, our final state payment, which will have our final payment plus our estimated enrollment numbers, which could be significant. Really helps us get a better idea as we close out the year. So we would like, if possible, to move it sometime after the 20th. The corresponding date for the next Thursday would be the 23rd, but really anytime, after the 20th would be ideal.
That'd be good with pushing it back and back. June 23rd? We need a motion on that, or we just?
You might want to just say you're gonna prove that you're gonna have the meeting, that way everybody knows it's official.
Somebody like to make a motion to move June's meeting from the 16th to the 23rd at the same time?
I'll make a motion to move the June board meeting to Thursday, June 23rd. I'll second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Before we go into closed session, I would like to take a brief moment and welcome Dr. McInnes. He is going to be our new Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning. He's coming to us from up north as a superintendent from up there. I think he's excited, from talking to him earlier, he's excited to be here, and I know the existing administrative team is looking forward to working with him. So I'd like to say welcome and thank you very much. We look forward to your time here. Want to say anything?
I'll keep it brief, but thank you all. I appreciate you all taking the time to say hello and invite me over. Everybody's been fantastic, and I'm excited to get started. Looking forward to working with the administrative team and everybody that I haven't gotten to meet yet, because there's quite a few of them. So again, thank you all. Appreciate you.
Well, thank you very much. Welcome. Okay, after that, I will entertain a motion, a roll call vote to enter an executive closed session with closed record and closed vote pursuant to RSMO 610-021, sections 3 and 13 personnel.
So moved.
Have a motion by Mr. Shepherd.
Second.
Second by Mr. Abrams. Will you poll the board, please?
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Cadler? Mr. Bulk?
Yes.
Mr. Wendell?
Yes.
Mr. Abrams?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Ms. Beresowski?
Okay, we'll take 5 minutes.
Rich, his voice got interesting. I looked there and see if he was here for a second.